one, two, one, two, one, two. Can y'all hear me out there? 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 Let me see if they can hear me now. See if they can hear me now. One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. Yeah, so I hear this on my end. Yes. All right, great. So they can hear me on my end. I'm sorry, y'all. It's been a while since I've been doing the YouTube. I have everything set up for my network, so it's been a minute, and I'm definitely sorry. I gotta give me a second. So I'm just trying to set everything up. All right, so that should be straight there. Hey, what's good, everybody? So, we gotta do this show. We gotta start the. This is a lot. All right. I see everything is up. Everything's up and running. All right, so that should be straight. All right. Let's try this again. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, because somewhere around the world it is truly what time it is. I'm the dopest political analyst on the planet, the most feared black Hispanic conservative candidate ever in United States history. I am Antoine Tucker, Tony X, Montaga, Tonymontaga, aka The Truth, aka Neo, aka the voice of the community, and I'm here live on YouTube right now. For those that are watching, that's on Instagram, you guys can hit the link in my bio to view the show live. I have a very special guest here, someone that is near and dear to me that I've known for 6+ years. 6+ years. A very courageous woman, somebody who has never tried to use the system, try to get over anybody. He's always been a hard worker, has always been someone that has been by my side. And today I have a story that I would like for her to share with you. You guys know that I am changing my 4-family property in New York City to a shelter for women who are survivors of domestic violence, PTSD, and sexual assault. This beautiful soul here that's currently on the screen, that you see on the screen right now, is a survivor of domestic violence. I'm going to ask some questions, but I'm going to allow her to give you guys a very detailed conversation. And I will have her, let me type her numbers in now. I will have her information posted in the link when the show is over for you guys that would like to be able to donate to her cause. And I'll get to why I believe that it's going to be helpful for you guys to donate, and as you continue to hear the story, you'll understand why as well. But without further ado, Sid, please unmute your mic. Let us hear you. Let us introduce yourself. Can you hear me? Sid, can you hear me? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We need you to unmute your mic. Your mic. You have to unmute the mic.
It's not muted.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Okay, I hear you. All right. So, would you like to introduce yourself? Let's.
Yes, I'm Shawnee Guadalupe.
Okay. So what I have on the screen right now, right, is a picture of you in the mirror. You have a cup in your hand. This is Friday, 11 p.m. This is just a normal day for you, you know. And then you go to work, and now I have a picture of you on the screen with the yellow door behind you. Are you able to see the yellow screen or the picture that has come up yet, or is it still?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Walk us into this day. So first, you know what? Talk to us about the relationship. I want to know, where your mind was, what led you to even talk to this guy, and talk about the relationship.
Okay. So I started work at the post office in May of 2020, and while working there, we have um, coworkers that we work with. We worked in groups. So this one coworker was in my group, and like we happened to like work together in a group often. So eventually, we spoke and we started to like build a friendship, and from there, we started to date. So,
So you
but that was basically how I met him. I met him from the post office.
okay? So, how was the relationship initially?
Um, it was like unusual for me. He wasn't like the normal person or guy that I would talk to. Um, but I just gave him the benefit of the doubt just because, like we both worked for the post office. So I'm like, he can't be like that bad of a person if he works here with me too. So, but he wasn't like the normal guy I would talk to or anything like that. I did notice, um, you could say like a little bit of insecurities from him,
Okay.
like early on, because I'm a very like friendly person. So I interact with people at work. I say hi. People say hi to me, good morning, or have a good day, whatever. And he let me know that he didn't like that. So that was just one of the things that I just like. Yeah, this guy's a little bit weird.
Okay. So leading up to the assault, what went wrong that would have had you break up with him? What happened?
It was just a lot of constant back and forth with him. Like we would argue probably like if not every day, every other day, and it was just like I couldn't. It was just a constant back and forth, and it just got to the point where I just felt like I couldn't try to like reason or like prove my point to him anymore. So, and I just wanted to like focus on work because I noticed that, like he was distracting me, but I just wanted to focus on work. So there was a point where I did stop speaking to him. Like we stopped speaking for about a week, no, 2 weeks prior to this whole incident happening. I started speaking back to him that Friday, and Sunday is when everything happened.
So Sunday you wake up and you you get ready to head out to go to work. You start the day, you start work. Tell us about the day that this happened from the picture that we see on the screen currently right now.
Okay, so this was Sunday. Um, what what basically led up to it was Saturday after work. We went out for drinks Saturday after work, and like we were talking with each other, and we hadn't spoken in a while. So like we were just kind of like you could say venting, and he has done like he he has like hacked my Instagrams and like like he's tried to hack my social medias and things like that before. And he's trying to like, like tell me like, I know what's going on with you and other people. So I'd rather you be honest with me, like instead of me having to tell you. So this Saturday while we're at the restaurant, we're out having drinks. and I let him know like, hey, I wanted to clear up the ear from, you know, what he might have saw in the Instagram. So, I mentioned something to him, and he didn't like the way that it was that I said it, or I don't know, the way I handled it, I guess. So he kind of like shut down, and I noticed him shut down. We came back to my house after the restaurant, and he was just really quiet. He stayed for probably about like 10 minutes, and then he left. We went to work every morning together, so he came over to my house in the morning, and he was still very quiet. So I was like a little uncomfortable. I was trying to figure out like what was going on. I kept asking him if he was okay, or, like if something was wrong, but he wouldn't tell me. He just like stayed quiet. Um, and it wasn't until we got to work and we're at work, and that he actually decided to like start texting me and calling me in regards to like, like how he was feeling, like while we're at work. So, like I tried to handle it as best as I could, I feel, but I felt like it was getting out of hand, and we're both at work. There's only but so much we could like figure out here. So I kind of just, you know, started to just ignore him. He called after the last phone call. I told him, I said, listen, like, we can't handle anything right now. Let's wait until after work. Like, I'm done going back and forth right now. Like, let's just drop it. And I hung up on him, and that was that. And then the next thing you know, I was being attacked.
So, describe the attack for us. Tell us what you were doing, and then tell us what he's done. Right now on the screen for my viewers that's watching, you are looking at her blood that is smeared all over the floor. The large droplets that you see on the floor, that is her blood. This is her blood. This happened to her. This is her blood that you currently see on the screen. So you were working, and describe the attack to us, please.
Okay, so at this point, I get back to work. I have my headphones in. Um, I'm listening to music, and I actually get a call from my cousin. So my cousin was actually on the phone with me, the whole time throughout this whole ordeal happening. She heard everything. Um, so I'm on the phone with her, and I was upset, and she could hear it. So she's asking me like, are you okay? What's going on? So I told her, I'm like, yeah, like this guy's like arguing with me. It's a lot of like back and forth, and like before I could even get the rest of the story out, um, he like ran up behind me, and I had on the hoodie like in the picture. So
Okay, let's go to
he
this
grabbed me
picture.
by my hoodie, and he threw me across the floor. So at this point, I was like unboxing, like unsleeving mail, unboxing the mail, and we have to put the empty, like the unsleeved mail into an empty postcard. So, we have to make sure that all the posts, like we have like enough equipment and stuff. So I went to go get a postcard, and that's when like he came and threw me across the floor. So, um, he came, grabbed me by my hoodie, he threw me across the floor, and at this point I have in my AirPods, and I'm confused as to like what could be, like who could be attacking me, like what could be going on right now. So I just got up, and I turn around, and I see that it's him, and he's just like in a rage. So there was no way really that I could like get away from him or around him. Just in the area we was at was like kind of like a dead end. So um he's like yelling at me and pushing me back, like as he's yelling, and I'm telling him like, like stop, like, asking him like what is he doing, like to just like relax, but he wasn't like responsive at all. Then the next thing you know, like I kind of So we have like break areas on the work floor.
I'm sorry.
And
Keep talking. Keep talking. I'm having issues with some equipment here. Just keep talking. I'm here. We're all here listening.
okay, so there's there is like break areas on the floor. So there's like vending machines and benches. So I'm like by a vending machine, and at this point my back is to the wall. So like he's still yelling at me, and I kind of wanted to like step to my left because I saw like an opening, but before I could step to my left, like he punched me in my face, and I blacked out, and I hit the vending machine. And when I got up, I went to the nearest bathroom, and that's that's all the blood that you guys see there.
Okay, almost finished over here. So there we go. Much better. Sorry, you guys. So you went to the bathroom. Let me put this back on the screen. So you came to the bathroom and you started to see that your face was definitely leaking a lot of blood, that you were losing a lot of blood from this POS.
Yeah, I honestly thought that like I was missing teeth for sure. Like I'm like, oh yeah, that's my teeth out. I thought my teeth just fell out. I'm like, yeah, I don't have no more teeth.
So you find out, because this picture you have now with you in the yellow, was this a staff member that took a picture, or was this someone who took your cell phone and took a picture for you to show?
Mhm. It was a staff member. So that day, the head MDO of the building, her name is Miss Cardi.
Okay.
She actually took that picture of me. She took like a couple of pictures of like my face and stuff just for evidence, I guess.
Okay, so was the authorities called?
Um, so we have postal security. So postal security was called, and they tried to like shut down the building and locate him, but at that point he had already left the building.
Okay, and you end up going to the hospital because we have a picture of you on the screen now, clearly in the hospital with your face
Yeah.
swollen. Um, After they couldn't locate him, was the New York City Police Department contacted, and were they told to go and apprehend him?
No. So I had to file my own charges against him when I got out the hospital,
Okay.
and then they
Okay, wait.
they
I'm
put out
sorry.
a warrant for
I'm
his
sorry.
arrest.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
Hmm.
So the United States Post Office uh didn't contact the postal police. They had postal security look for him, and then when they couldn't find him, they themselves did not contact the authorities in order to have this animal arrested and brought in to face charges. It was you that had to go after going to the hospital. It was you that had to go to a precinct in order to press charges on him. Is what you're telling me.
Yes. Yeah.
And no one from the post office furnished any of the recordings of the attack to you. None of them gave you anything that would help you in this situation at all.
So, they told me there was no footage because unfortunately in that area they said there was no cameras. So there was no footage of what happened, but they have written witness accounts, and they did provide me with the written witness accounts.
So if it wasn't for you taking pictures, and if it wasn't for you taking pictures of the bathroom and the blood, then no one would even know the severity
Right.
of the situation.
Right.
So here we have a picture of you. You're in the hospital. Explain this experience. Explain, what you're going through, where you are mentally, where you are emotionally. Explain to us like where you are right now at this particular point.
So when I was in the hospital, that was probably like when everything started to hit me, like what was actually going on, because I don't think I was really processing what was happening. I was, yeah, I don't think I was really processing what was happening until I was actually like that night by myself in the hospital. I'm like, whoa, like I couldn't believe that this was happening to me. And I knew that my life was going to be like completely different after that. It was a weird feeling too because um, I'll be honest, even though you know even though like I was assaulted by him and like he hurt me, he was probably like the only one that I wanted to come comfort me. So I was having uh like a battle in my head of like being angry at him and then wanting him to like be there for me. But, you know, after the assault took place and actually while I was in the ambulance, he was calling me. Um, he was calling me the whole time. And like back to back. He was calling me and I finally answered. When I did answer, I just let him know that we couldn't continue to, speak to each other. Like I didn't want to continue on whatever was going on because, you know, I wasn't used I'm not used to being in situations like that. I'm not a violent person, so it was just too much for me. And I told him that, I didn't want any more to do with him.
So
And I asked him to leave me alone.
you got out of the stage of wanting him to touch you, and it kind of really came to you. It kind of came full circle back around. Like, hey, I don't need this in my life. Like I've never been treated like this before. I don't deserve to be treated like this, and I just don't really want you around me. I can't trust you. So the feeling of wanting him to console you changed to you just saying like, I just don't want you around me. I don't want you around me. I don't want you touching me. I don't want you contacting me. It finally started to. This is the point where I want people who are watching for you to understand that, because it's important that she said this, right? She went through, like a lot of us are dealing with, politically. She went through something that's like Stockholm syndrome. You're abused by someone, but in the same breath, you don't want to be loved by the person. You want to be able to forgive the person. But the warrior in her quickly removed this mind state, and she went right into self-protection mode, which is very important if you go through something like this, or if someone is verbally abusing you, if someone has inappropriately, has touched you in an inappropriate way. It's important that once, because no matter no matter who you are as a victim, there will be a point where your mind will tell you, because in a lot of cases you'll want to love the person, you'll want to forgive the person, but there's something in you, there's something that's telling you no, don't do it, and you have to listen to this part of who you are, because this is how you regain who you are as a person. So you go to the doctor, right? You're in the hospital. So now we have a picture on the screen of you, and clearly your face is bruised up. You have lacerations on your nose, and your face is visibly swollen. What happened? What did the doctors have to do?
So the next day, I went into surgery. They did X-rays and stuff, and basically what they found was that I had a hairline fracture on the left side of my face, and then I had I believe I can't remember if it's two or three, but I believe that it's two fractured teeth on like my right side where I hit the vending machine. So they had to actually like put a metal plate in my mouth, and for my hairline fracture, I had to get like braces to wire my mouth shut.
So this forced you to have to eat through a straw in a syringe.
Yeah, yeah. So I couldn't eat for about almost. It wasn't a full 2 months, but it was almost 2 months.
And now there's a picture of you on the screen, and
That was after surgery.
this is you clearly you're crying now. You're looking at yourself. Emotionally, what are you going through? Are you upset? Are
Yeah, yeah. I was definitely upset because I just felt like then I started to feel like he tried to like deface me. He tried to like. I'm like, wait, did he just try to like make me ugly? Like I know I don't want to sound like superficial, but I just felt like he was trying to take away something from me. So I just felt really bad.
you guys watching? You guys don't understand. Known her for a very long time. I believe I gave her first tattoo.
Yeah.
I believe I gave her first tattoo when she came to my shop. I believe I gave her first tattoo.
Yeah.
Um, I've watched her grow from a young woman to a very beautiful and confident woman, and she's spent the majority of her young adult life caring for kids. You know, it was a passion of hers to one day own a daycare. But I mean, when I mean this woman loves kids, she loves kids. She would take her check. She would spend the majority of the money that she got on the children that she looked after. She's done everything she can do in her power, you know, to be on the righteous path, to, you know, take care of what she needed to take care of in school, to take care of what she needed to take care of as a person. She wasn't outside, you know, selling her body or, you know, anything like that. She's somebody who genuinely really just wanted to succeed in the most positive way possible. And I'm telling you, it just really hurts to look at the pictures and see the pictures and see her like this crying because, you know, I feel guilty that I wasn't there to hold her and beat the shit out of this person that did this to her. I need you guys out there to understand something. This type of shit stops when we stand up for our women. I've noticed YouTubers say that if you see a woman being attacked, you shouldn't jump in if it's four guys there or whatever the case may be. And if you don't do something, I don't know how you're going to be able to sleep with yourselves, live with yourselves, because this shit here shouldn't be happening. So they had to wire your mouth shut. You had to eat through a straw. And then you get out of the hospital and you can't go to work. You can't go to work because, you know, medically you are severely injured.
Yeah.
And tell us what the post office allowed this guy to do.
So, after everything, I, of course, I couldn't go back to work. Um, I signed up for workers' compensation. You know, my union worker was helping me. But in the midst of all this, you know, because postal workers are in the union, he's still able to like fight for his job. So he's still able to work at this point. Like he's at work. He works there still. Not at the same location where the assault took place, but he still works for the post office.
So while you're suffering physically, um, while you're suffering physically, I don't know if you have a headset you can plug in, because maybe you can just put it in your ear. That way we don't get the feedback, you know, going back and forth. But it would help if you know, have like a air set that you can plug into the laptop. If you don't, then it's okay. We'll just work through it. But so
I do.
All right. So I'm gonna let you get it for a second.
All right.
For those of you who are watching on Instagram, you can go to YouTube through the link in my bio. You can watch the whole show right now. We are live. We are live on YouTube right now. I will be delivering more content on YouTube that has nothing to do with political commentary. And right now I have Miss Guadalupe currently on the YouTube channel. So I'm gonna face the camera back towards the tablet so you guys can see. But for those of you who are watching on Instagram, the link to the Zelle and the Cash App is located below. And once the show's over, I will have the information for you guys that would like to be able to help her out. Send her Zelle or send her Cash App. Because we are kind of touching into it. We've gone through some of the trauma, but now we're gonna go to the after effects of what has happened to her. Okay, so you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly fine. All right, so
Okay.
this animal is allowed to go to work. Now, I can. It's safe for me to say that you're afraid. You're afraid to go to work, but physically you cannot go to work. You cannot go to work. You have a fracture in your face, multiple fractures in your face. You're unable to eat and chew your food. You have to sip your food through a straw. And I know what it feels like to have your jaw broken. I've had my jaw broken before, and I had to sip through a straw. So, they allowed him to go to work still, and they just moved him to a different location.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I actually, I couldn't go to work. There was no way I could go to work after that. Just because of, you know, the way I had to eat and my physical injury. I'm a mail handler, so I wouldn't been able to do any physical labor or anything like that while I was, with my mouth like that. I would have never been able to heal if I would have went back to work. But um, I honestly, I honestly kind of like rushed my whole healing process as it got to the end, because after 2 months of not being at work, I was not compensated. So
So,
not being compensated.
so the United States Post Office knew you were assaulted on their property, and the person who assaulted you not only wasn't arrested and wasn't brought to justice, but he was allowed to keep his job, work, and make money, while you couldn't make any money whatsoever, and you had to sit out on the sidelines, and then you had to rush the healing process in order to try to get back to work because they wasn't giving you the adequate help that they should have.
Yes. Yeah. Um, and they told me that I could transfer from the same work location that I was at, but it would take more time as well. And I told them, I'm like, well, that defeats the purpose because you guys aren't compensating me. And like, it's been 2 months now. I have to get back to work. Like, I have bills. Like, I live on my own. So I have to get back to work, or else I don't know what I'm going to do, And I didn't have time for them to wait for them to finally transfer me, probably 2-3 months down the line, and not be compensated.
I'm sorry, I'm putting your Cash App on the screen. So you're not being compensated. These people allow him to keep his job after he strikes you, after he hits you. He's allowed to keep his job. He's allowed to go to another location. They told you that they would take you to another location, but they informed you that it would take more time than you would have had available for you to pay your bills, to be able to eat. So basically, they was telling you that you are screwed. Like, there's little to nothing that they're gonna do for you in this case. And did they pursue any charges on him? Did they continue to pursue any charges on him? Did they let you know they was gonna? Okay, so you had coworkers, you was telling me, that were supervisors that basically tried to blame you for the assault. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So This is well into me returning back to work at this point. Um, I had some troubles when I did return back to work, just because they did try to, even though I did knew what I was, you know, I knew that I was going back to the same work location. I asked them just please not to place me, in the area where it happened. I didn't want to be on that floor, and there's a basement, and not including like 4 floors. So, there's a whole building for us to work in. So I just asked not to be placed back in that specific area. Um, and sure enough, I was placed back in that area. So
So you had to relive the assault all over again.
yeah, and that's when, well, my Zell, you put an extra R
Okay,
in
hold
front
on.
of the O. It's
I'm sorry.
CHON.
CHON. Hold on. CHON. Let me get in here and fix this.
But um, yeah, I actually, that's when I first started having like actual anxiety attacks at work. And I actually had a supervisor literally fan me off, like when I was trying to ask her for help, because I was having an anxiety attack because I was in a traumatic, like I was being triggered. Like it was very triggering for me, and no one was listening to me that I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to work there, you know. And she literally just like was fanning me off, like get away from me.
Oh, so she wasn't fanning you like trying to help you cool down. She was
No,
fanning you like get away from me.
yeah, like it was like she didn't want to deal with it. It was just like she just was like like move away from her with that, like basically.
For those of my viewers that are watching right now, what you see is if you look at her jawline, you can see one side is it has a curve to it, it goes up, and then you can see the other side where you see the bruising on her chin. You can see that that whole side of her face is swollen. The whole side of her face is swollen. So they allowed this animal to kill. This is a syringe that she had to put food in order to be able to eat. So this is the teeth, her teeth that you see on the screen now, and this is how they had to have it wired shut and closed shut. So now it's hard for you to be there. You're basically suffering from PTSD,
Yeah.
right? Um, so you're like, I'm gonna wait for the location that I can be resent to because being here is causing me to have anxiety attacks. I don't feel safe while I'm here, and I'm gonna wait. And then they tell you that they wanted you to pay them $900 in order to go back to work.
So basically now, because while when I did return back to work, I actually find out that my workers' compensation has been denied. Um, you know, and just the way that they handled it as well, the way that they had like went about letting me know while I was working at work was just like very wrong as well. But I found out, that my workers' compensation was denied. Um, and basically, they were telling me any funds that were given to me, I had to return back. But I wasn't given any funds. I received um, my last check from, um, you know, the week, the last week that I worked. I received that check. And then I did receive one check for the first, I believe it was the first week of compensation, and it was $312. So that was the only money that I received, $312. Um, my union representative let me know that you can appeal um, the the workers' compensation being denied, but unfortunately, I never received like any. They told me I would need paperwork from work the Department of Labor itself, and I never received that paperwork from the Department of Labor to give them. So fast forward to now, I'm thinking that my union rep is handling all of this, and it wasn't handled. So now they're telling me that I owe them 900, like around $900, um, for that workers' compensation, which I never even received $900 from them.
So not only were you attacked, um, not only were you attacked, not only was this individual not charged with the felony assault, he was allowed to work, keep his job after assaulting you, and they placed you back in the same facility that had dropped massive amounts of your blood on the floor in the restroom. They placed you back in the same area that you were violently attacked in. They dragged their feet on trying to get you to another location. When you asked for workers' compensation, clearly you needed it. The pictures show that you needed it.
You know, wait, let me just see something here. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. We're good.
Okay, everything's good?
Yeah.
All right. So on top of on top of um on top of this animal assaulting you, keeping his job, not receiving any real form of punishment for attacking you, you're victimized again by being denied help from the United States Post Office. This is what I need everyone to understand right now. This was the United States Post Office that had this woman on federal property, assaulted, attacked. She had bones fractured. They didn't want to give her help. They didn't want to help her at all. And then they denied her workers' compensation, which clearly she needed. Again, clearly she needed it. They denied her workers' compensation, and now they're trying to charge her 2 times the amount of what they've given her in the first place. They never sent out the proper forms to her so she can appeal anything. And they're trying to tell her that $900 would be the only way she can get a job back. This is clearly some form of extortion.
Yeah, and also, when I was out for those 2 months, it was an excused absent initially. But, now because of everything after like workers' compensation denied, well, I don't know if it's because of workers' compensation because it just recently happened. They're no longer counting those 2 months as an excused absent. So now, like, it's on my record that I was out of work for 2 months straight for no reason. And, I, in the midst of like me returning back to work, there's been periods where I have taken off time just because I wasn't initially allowed the proper time to deal with what happened to me. I should have been in therapy. I should have been able to speak to someone before I returned back to work so I could make the proper decisions. But all I was thinking about was the fact that I wasn't being compensated and I couldn't afford to wait, you know. So because those 2 months are unexcused, I'm not even allowed to get like FMLA or anything from the post office. Like, and they saying that basically that time that I took off, like those two months that I took off, I owe them. I owe them for that. So that's where my union representative let me know that's how they got that number.
So wait, they didn't pay you for the 2 numbers that you were off. The 2 months that you were off, and you didn't work for the 2 months that you were off. You didn't take anything from them, and they want you to pay them for the 2 months that you were off.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes absolutely no damn sense. Imagine not working for a company and they're charging you for not working. Because this is what this is. For everyone
Yeah.
that's watching, let me give a recap. If you're on Instagram right now, you can go to the link in my bio. You can view the show live, and you can also go to the link in my bio and you can view the show in its entirety once we wrap this up. Her information to her Zelle and her Cash App is currently there. Due to restrictions in New York City, due to a lot of the unconstitutional mandates, it's hard for individuals to go out and find employment, and she is not letting anyone poke her with anything. So for sure, it's very difficult on her. This woman was assaulted at her job by an ex-lover. The ex-lover was able to retain his position, move to another location without being criminally charged for assault and battery. They tried to put her in the same facility that she was attacked in. She suffered from PTSD. She went to get proper help from a therapist. She tried her best. She tried her best to get workers' comp, and she was denied. Again, if you're just now watching this, this is her in the hospital. This picture you see on the screen right now is her in the hospital. This is her with her face fractured. This is her looking at herself and saying to herself, this man just tried to take everything from me. Because of his insecurities, because of the evilness in him, he didn't want me to smile and be beautiful. He didn't want me to smile at myself and be happy. He wanted to take it from me. He wanted to take away my happiness. He wanted to take away my sense of self-security because he has none up, for himself. This is her in the hospital showing the lacerations on her face. This is her with her mouth wired shut. This is her. This is her. What you're seeing is her in the gown in the hospital. This is real. Domestic violence is real. And fortunately for her, the warrior in her succeeded in putting an end to the cycle, because initially when it happened, she went home and she just wanted him to comfort her. When she was in the hospital. But when she got home, when she got home, she realized this is not what I want in my life. This guy has to stay far, far away from me. I will not never let anyone ever do something like this to me again. And then where you're supposed to be safe as a woman, this is why we fail, people. This is the reason why instead of picking up your phone and recording the assault, leave that to someone else and step in and do something about it. Step in and do something about it. Individuals at her job, I don't care how many women or men was there, could have all stepped in. They could have all restrained him and held him down until the authorities came near to lock him up. Instead, he was able to escape, run off, and then return back to work and be placed at another facility. While he got to make money, she had to sip food through a straw. While he got to make money, she had to take pills that was crushed up that she had to put in liquid in order to take to subside the pain. This is what she had to go through. And currently, the only reason why she's not saying this bastard's name is because he knows where she lives and she's going to live. She currently still lives in fear. She's fearful of what this fuckboy would do.
Yeah, and I don't have the finances to move because I'm not able to work as thoroughly as I need to because of everything that's going on.
This was her. This was her regular day, happy, taking a picture, right before work. And then she goes to work and then she has to look at this. These pictures of her blood on the floor. This is her blood that you see on the floor. This is her blood on the floor. What you're seeing on the screen right now, this is her blood on the floor.
Someone says you're muted on Instagram. They can't hear you.
Oh, I put in AirPods, so they should be able to hear me on Instagram. Let me see. Someone's still saying they can't hear me. It's not me doing it. It's Instagram that's doing it.
Yeah.
It's most likely it's Instagram, but I'm not muted at all. And I just put headsets in just now, just so I can make sure that I'm being heard on Instagram. So it's not me that's doing it. ended. Let me go back live again. Let me make sure that they can hit me on IG now. This is what you have to deal with when you're trying to help people. This is what you have to deal with when you're trying to stand up and do what's right. You have to worry about these platforms that are trying to hide the truth and not let people hear the truth that's out there. This is what you have to deal with. This is what you have to deal with. So for everyone that is watching on Instagram right now, hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear my voice. This is Guadalupe that you see that I'm showing you guys on my tablet. You can view the show live on YouTube. The link is in the description, but I would like to give you guys a recap of what has happened, what has happened to this sister here. I've known for her for over 6 years, close to 7. It could be 7 years now, 7.5 years. All right. This woman is selfless. She has done a lot for her community. She's always been a mentor for the youth, for children. She's always worked with kids. She's always done everything she can do on her power to be an outlet for young women in our community to reach out to talk to confide in. She has never asked anybody for any handouts whatsoever. She's never been a gold digger. She's never been the type of girl that wants to date a guy that can just buy her stuff and pay her bills. She's never done that. She's always worked. She's always had a job. She's always been employed, and she's always been consistent with being a positive reinforcement, even in my life, let alone in the community. She goes and she works for the United States Post Office. She meets a young man that's there. And in spite of her better judgment, because she, we all reach a point where we want intimacy, where we want to be able to have somebody around us. She deals with this gentleman. She starts to see telltale signs of his insecurity, but she likes him, so she ignores it. And then she goes through this guy, hacking her social media accounts, checking her direct messages. And when she informs him over dinner, like, hey, we're just talking. This is not an exclusive relationship. I don't belong to you. I belong to myself. And quite frankly, every woman has that right to make that choice. No one has the right to own you, to decide who you see or who you're dealing with or who you're going to deal with. No one has that right to control you. So when she's forthcoming with him, he becomes silent. And I believe at this particular time, and this is just my opinion, that he's thinking about harming her. So the next day, he picks her up to take her to work. He's contacting her, texting her. He's contacting her and texting her. And it's disrupting her work. She informs him that, hey, this is something we will have to deal with when we get off of work. This piece of shit then goes to her side and her location at the post office. He throws her around. He strikes her in the face a multitude of times, fracturing her face, fracturing her jawline and her teeth. She then has to have her mouth closed. It has to be wired shut. She has to go through drinking through a straw. And the post office doesn't even arrest this guy. They allow him to abscond, and when he returns, they give him his fucking job back. He's able to work while she's out, while her face is swollen, while her face her mouth is sewn shut. She applies for unemployment, and the United States Post Office denies it, knowing there's physical proof that she was assaulted severely at this location. This is not a fight where she got a cut on her hand or she got a cut on her face, but she's able to talk and she's able to walk. No, this was so violent that she had passed out. And when she came to and went to the bathroom, what you see here is pictures of her blood on the floor. Blood is leaking from her face. Something is going on in your background. I hear a lot of your background. I don't know if that's outside or
Yeah, it's my neighbors upstairs.
your neighbors upstairs or some shit. Um,
Someone asked where did this happen?
Tell
This
them where it
happened at the
happened.
post office. So this happened while I was working at the post office.
So she worked at the United States Post Office in Brooklyn. Am I correct?
Yes. No, in Manhattan. I
And,
worked at Morgan PDNC. So that's on 34th Street by
so
Hudson Yards.
okay. So this what I have on the screen now is a picture of her normal before work. You can see how her jawline looks. You can see how regal her chin is. You can see she's confident, she's happy, and then she goes to work and her face is swollen because an animal who couldn't deal with his own insecurities punched her in her face, fracturing her face and her jawline. This is her in the hospital. Again, pictures of her in the hospital. Well, she has to now confront the realization that someone tried to take away her self-worth. Because this is what this is really about. She's confident, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, and she was around somebody who didn't think shit of himself. And he chose to take it out on her because she wouldn't allow him to break her down. And currently, she's still not allowing him to break her down. You guys, the United States Post Office is trying to charge this woman $900 in order to go back to work. They're trying to charge her for 2 months that she wasn't even working. They're trying to charge her for 2 months that she wasn't even on location. She didn't take anything from the location. She doesn't owe anyone anything at all. And they're trying to charge her $900 in order to go back to work. She lives on her own. She suffered on her own. She takes care of herself. Currently on the screen right now, what you see on YouTube is her Cash App and her Zelle account. Whatever you want to send to her, I hope that you help her. I'm going to post this link. I'm going to post the link to the show on all my social media platforms, on my Twitter. I'm going to post it on my Facebook page. And again, I am starting. She came to my house. I showed her the location. I showed her the property. And I talked to her about my idea because initially this wasn't even something she was going to share with me because me and her have a long history. I really, if I wasn't the man that I am right now, she and I both know I would have went and I would have looked for this dude. I would have went and I would have looked for him. I want the law to do its job. I want the post office to treat her the way she's supposed to. So I'm going to ask that you guys follow up. I will make sure that the information to the post office is put in the description after the show is over. So if you want, you can view the show, go in, get the number to the post office, and contact them and call them. Email them. Get involved. I need my viewers to do this for me. Please, I ask you to do this for me. Whatever support that you give her this month, it will help her. I know a lot of you guys have family members. Christmas is right around the corner, but there's a lot of you guys out there. And $5 and $10 donations to help her out will go a very long way. Hopefully next month we will have the GoFundMe for my shelter up and running. And I've already told her that I will be allocating resources from the GoFundMe to assist her because she will be a spokesperson for my shelter. She will be not only a spokesperson for my shelter, but she will also be there to help counsel women who will come through the doors that will have had experience violence like her, and in some cases even worse. I plan on allowing her to build her platform so she can be a voice for women who do not have a voice, and I will continue to champion her cause and every single female that is out there right now that is suffering at the hands of anybody that is trying to take away their self-worth. Whether someone physically harms you and puts their hands on you, whether someone is verbally abusing you and telling you that you're not loved, that you're not worth anything, whether someone is sexually assaulting you, touching you, constantly saying inappropriate things to you sexually, or they physically harmed you sexually. if you are in the service, if you serve this nation, you were sexually assaulted, you were verbally abused, I want to be the person that's uplifting you. This is where we're going with my platform. We will have pranks on this platform. We will have things that have to do with cars. Since I do have an oil exchange location, we will have car content up here. But you will also see me reaching out and talking about domestic violence issues. You will see her face again. You will see her up here doing the podcast with me. We will be doing reaction videos to violent interactions that have taken place where women are involved. I ask that you guys support her. If you're on Instagram, the information, her Zelle and her Cash App is there. Someone on my Instagram, Jamie said, "How can someone buy their job back? What does she owe for it?" I'm completely confused. Is it something that was broken because of his fault during the assault? Even if it was something that was broken during the assault, it's not on her to fix it. She didn't hit him, he hit her. This is the United States Post Office that is turning this survivor into yet a victim again. Before we go, Guadalupe, is there anything you want to say to my audience?
I just want to say thank you for, listening to my story. And I feel like it's very important, like for me to share what happened. And I'm gonna keep, you know, spreading awareness about what's going on because I just personally feel like domestic, just not just everything, the way everything was handled, from my mental health, from the way the post office is expecting money back from me. I just feel like I have to spread awareness. And someone just asked me, if I have a lawyer, I have to spread awareness because unfortunately, throughout this whole time, I haven't been able to like connect with a lawyer that could help me. Because it is the post office, it's a federal branch. So I haven't been able to connect with a lawyer that, is federal. They could work with workers' compensation and a personal injury. Um, so I feel like it's very important as well to bring awareness to the mental health aspect of what I had to go through because the post office did not care. I've had therapists write letters, explaining my mental, my mental situations that I have going on now, and they've completely disregarded it. They don't care. They just care about the money, and that's it. Um, but um, I also want to say as well, I'm not a violent person, and they told me that my workers' compensation was denied because they think that we had like a back and forth, physical altercation, but that was not the case. I'm not a violent person. I actually avoid confrontation. So um, I don't feel like it's okay either way. If it was a female putting her hands on a guy or a guy putting his hands on a female, I don't feel like either way is okay. So I just want to bring awareness to it, and I feel like it's so much better ways we can handle things. And I just want everybody to learn how to communicate. And yeah, I'm just happy I got to tell my story.
I'm gonna have you join my Instagram right now in the Instagram live so we can talk about this a little more. Because I want to keep this show to like an hour or just a little bit under or over. That way people can watch it in its entirety.
Okay.
For everyone that's watching on YouTube right now, I appreciate you guys for being here. Again, I am begging you to please make sure that you support this sister. The Zelle and her Cash App is on the screen currently right now. You can go ahead, you can go and support her because due to restrictions in New York City, due to these illegal mandates, due to these people trying to turn us into test subjects, it's very difficult for her to get employment. And what she does know is that she is trying her best to fight through all of this. So everything
And
that you
and if I can be honest, I actually I actually am a bit like hesitant, and you could say, fearful in a sense of having to just be in another work environment around guys or like people who may want to talk to me, because even after I did return to work, there were multiple guys who still try to talk to me, and I turned them down just because of everything, that I experienced. I just didn't want to deal with it at all. But, it's inevitable to avoid, people trying to talk to you, whether you're at work or outside, and things like that. But I just feel like, in a sense, I was blamed, and I don't feel like it's fair.
I want you to come in and join the Instagram. I'm gonna bring you on Instagram live. Just send a request. I can bring you in on the live. We can. For everyone that's watching the content, you can see all political content that I have on Urban Smart Network. I got time today. The link is in the description. If you want to see uncensored, unfiltered political commentary and the news about politics broken down, you're going to have to go to my network, urbansmartnetwork.com. For this platform, we will bring more social conscious subjects up. We will do reaction videos on this platform. We will have car content and prank content, but for serious, unfiltered, uncensored political commentary, go to urbansmartnetwork.com. I got time today. The link is in the description. Become a subscriber. Be a part of the family. And again, I don't want any donations from the show today. I don't want any at all from this content. I don't care if you see the show a year from now. The Cash App and the Zelle is there. I ask that you help out and you support. When we do launch the GoFundMe for the shelter, we will be allocating resources to this beautiful sister right here to make sure that we can continue to assist her. This is a process. Surviving doesn't happen overnight. It happens with time. And she's definitely a survivor, and she's currently still surviving. So help the sister out. I ask that you please help her out. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay American, and remember, you have to watch both sides because they're two dirty wings on the same dirty, dirty bird. This happened in New York City. Progressive. This happened in New York City. Democrats have control over everything. This happened in New York City. Under de Blasio's watch. Crime is up. Inflation is through the roof.